Shoots and Scores Hockey Talk, where we talk everything hockey. I am John.
I'm Mike.
I'm Chris.
All right, gentlemen, let's go. Even though my dreaded, and I will say dreaded now, Toronto Maple Leafs don't seem to be going anywhere but non-playoffs. There's no way those guys are making it now. Lose 4 in a row after the break. Boo. Anyway, enough about them. No one cares about the Leafs. I don't anymore either. First topic today. Today is Thursday, March the 5th, and that means tomorrow is trade deadline day for the NHL. And I want to talk more about that and a few rumors that are flying around. Now, Robert Thomas, I didn't even check to see if these guys were traded yet today. Robert Thomas, was he traded today?
No, not yet.
No? Okay. It's said that the asking price from the Blues is too high. It was said maybe Buffalo, and of course the regular suspects are interested, blah, blah, blah. Now, guys, what do you think of Thomas, and do you think he'll be moved? Let's start with Mike this week.
Um, Thomas is a great player, in my opinion. Do I think he's going to be moved? If somebody's going to meet St. Louis's asking price, then I think he will
Exactly.
be. But he would be a great fit for multiple teams. Carolina, obviously, a great fit. Montreal would be another really good fit. And, the talk is that Montreal has the best assets to try to get him. Buffalo, apparently, the talks have stalled on that with him. So, but those I think are the top three contenders for him. Whether or not they trade him or not, it's going to probably come right down to the wire. But it's his contract isn't a terrible contract, so that I don't think is a deterrent. And he's pretty much a point a game centerman, and they're not very easy to come by. If it was me, like if I was the Flyers, I would be unloading a lot of these guys to try to get them, but we all know that's not going to happen because he doesn't play on the third line. So, but anyways, yeah, I think there's a good chance he gets moved. If I'm going to give a percentage, I'd say 65-70% chance he gets moved tomorrow.
Chris, what do you think?
I'd put him. I think it's more going to be like maybe 30-70, 30% that he gets moved. St. Louis ask is very high, and I suspect if they're going to really move him, it's going to happen in the off season, probably at the draft time, right? How good is he as a player? He's a good player. I know I heard somewhere, and I agree with it. Someone said there's only probably 15 or 16 legit first line centers in the NHL today. He's not considered a first line center, but he's considered a very, very good second line center, right? But half the teams don't have a true first line center. So that makes his value. Great contract, good players, won a Stanley Cup. But they won a lot. And I don't know if a team is going to be willing to pay that price now. They're probably holding out, hoping that some team gets desperate, right, and just empties the clip, as they say. And I think one team is the Utah Mammoths, right?
Right, yeah.
They gave up a ton of second round picks to satisfy Calgary. Very good second round picks. Some people gave them flack, but I'm like, that's 3 seconds, probably in the 30 to 40 range. All right, that's worthy of a mid first round pick. But Arizona, Utah still has their first round picks. They still got a ton of prospects they can throw St. Louis's way. Because I know long-time player that Carolina has been on for about 3 years now is Schmaltz out of Utah, and he is a free agent. And I heard there's been no talks. So there was some discussion saying if they get Thomas, maybe Carolina can get Schmaltz out of there, right? But I just feel like that Thomas is probably going to end up being a summer thing. He also has a no move, right? And we've seen with Parayko, you can make a trade, but you got to give the player time to make a decision, right? So,
right, yeah.
I believe if you're moving him, it has to be today. I don't think you can wait till tomorrow at 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. and say, hey, we got a trade. Are you going or not, right? So if something's going to happen, it should happen tonight to give Thomas, overnight to think about it and make a decision if he wants to go. That's why I think summertime is more likely for
Right. So it's possible first thing in the morning this could be announced. You're saying if
or
it
late
was going to
tonight.
happen
Yeah.
late tonight. Okay. All right. Well, the other player I wanted to bring up was Conor Garland. I don't believe he was traded today yet, although
No.
there's a lot of movement. So, Chris, what do you say about Conor Garland? Now, I wanted to bring him up too because he's from Vancouver, and they just seem to be tearing their team apart in some ways, but yet adding well to the team in other ways. So, what do you think?
Yeah, the rumor I thought I saw was the Islanders were interested in Conor Garland. Um, his contract, remember, they just extended him last year.
They did this.
I think he got 5 years. I think it was a 5 year or 6 year. I can't remember exactly which one it was,
Yeah,
how
it's
long it
six
was,
million a
right?
year.
I thought it
Six
was
million a year.
6.
Yeah. So that is some decent coin. Um, he's a good player, yeah. Can you can he be a second line player in a Stanley Cup contending team? I don't think so. Does he play enough defense to play on your third line? Maybe, right? So I don't know. I would not empty the clip for him for sure because of the contract and the length. But is he a good player? Yeah. Will he be traded? I'm sure they're offering, but I'm not hearing too much traction on Conor Garland. Um, hopefully, another player there gets shipped out to a certain team and makes everybody in North Carolina happy.
Mike, what do you think about Conor Garland? I see you shaking your head there about Chris's
I don't know
comments.
if he's going to get moved. To be honest, I think his contract is probably a deterrent
It's
for a
pretty
lot of
big.
teams, and I'm not saying he's past his prime, but he's headed towards the downturn. I think of his what you're going to get out of good numbers from him. So um, I don't know. I wouldn't be trading for him. That's me. But if I was a contender, I don't really see a whole lot of upside in him. I think that there's better players that might be better fits. Because like Chris said, is he a second line player on a contending team? Probably not, or he shouldn't be. And like Chris said as well, defensively, I'm not quite sure he's solid enough defensively to play on the third line. So he's one of those players that you're kind of caught in the middle with, and I don't see him getting moved. That's my thoughts on it.
Okay, all right. Well, let's go on to our second topic. And the second topic is I want to give you two the floor to talk about any players that you're watching you believe could be traded by tomorrow. So, what do you think, Mike? Give us a pick or two, somebody you think might be moved out by tomorrow that we haven't talked about yet.
Well, I think the most interesting one, and it has just come up the last couple of days, is Sergei Bobrovsky. So
Yeah, I saw that. Yes.
curious if he gets moved. I would think he would want to stay in Florida, but I also think that they might be telling him that, you know what, if we trade you out, we can resign you in the summer. Because I really think he likes it there. Um, so I don't know. That's the one that I'm really intrigued by. And the teams that there's talk that he might go to is Vegas. Has the team that's been talked about the most. Edmonton, although Stan Bowman has said that he thinks he's done making moves, but he shouldn't be if Bobrovsky, if they can squeeze him in somehow, and I don't know, and I'm not sure they can. I mean, they've only got $500,000 left under their cap, so it's probably not likely for that reason. Even if Florida was to eat half the contract. Is he not a fit for Carolina? Like, how could he not be? Right? Isn't everybody a fit there?
Hey, he is
Anyway,
Russian. He is
you know,
Russian.
so I think Vegas is probably the team that would make the most sense if he's moved. And there's also talk Buffalo. However, if people don't want to go play in Buffalo, that might be a problem for him too. Hard to say. Although the talk is that he's got ties with Kekalainen from his Columbus days, so he might consider it. So we'll have to see. But Bobrovsky's the one that intrigues me to see where he's going to go. And, the other one is, I would say maybe Vincent Trocheck, because I think he's going to be on the move too. And I really think he's going to go to Carolina, in my opinion. That's my thought. So,
Okay.
yeah, those are the two guys that I'm kind of looking at to see where they go. Mind you, I do have, these guys in some of my hockey pools too. So,
That's fair. You're allowed to talk about people you have in the hockey pool, so that you're keeping an eye on. Chris, what do you think? Who are you
Um,
keeping an eye on?
yeah. So just a comment on Bobrovsky. What I heard through the grapevine was that they exchanged numbers, and Florida decided they didn't like his number, and that's why he's being shopped. But he's already at about 11 on the cap, 10 or 11.
10 million.
Yeah, so that's a big number. And Florida somehow last year was able to squeeze everybody in there. So I'm kind of surprised they weren't willing to give him a similar number,
I
or
would
they
think he
really
would
want to
take
shrink it.
less, though,
Hmm?
but I would think he would take less money. I mean, he is on the downturn of his career, so
Yeah.
Yeah,
How old
well,
is Bobrovsky now? 39?
36, I think.
36, I
36?
believe. Yeah. So yeah, I'm assuming Florida wants him to take a cut, and he must want at least the same or more. I don't know, but numbers are exchanged, and that's why he's out there now. Trocheck, word on the street there is that the Wild have an offer on the table, and the Rangers are shopping it to teams like Detroit and Carolina and some other teams to say, "Hey, can you do better?" The Wild, to me, are the team that has to trade for a center, so I think Trocheck will end up going there at some point. Um, Pedersen, last night Carolina was in Vancouver. I don't know why he just didn't board the plane and head off to Calgary or Edmonton or wherever they play tomorrow night. He had 2 assists. I love to see, and like people say, like Vancouver is rebuilding. Pedersen hasn't had a couple of good years, last 2, 3 years. Why continue to hold on to an asset that's taken up so much of your cap, right? If he continues to decline, you're going to get less and less, right? So there's a time where you just got to pull the trigger, right? And hopefully Carolina will at least reach them halfway on what they're looking for assets and get this over the finishing line. I know today I was at Kiprios and those guys. They Washington got rid of Dowd, who has been a pretty effective pain in the butt. I don't like when Carolina plays Washington. Dowd irritates me. He plays, and they moved him out. Some whispers that maybe Carlson could be on the market. We should see if that could occur. But yeah, overall, I think Minnesota has to find a centerman. They have to. They've invested all this money and all this time and effort. I think they got to find that center. Um, Rumors are also that Kadri almost went to Colorado before they gave the Leafs a first round pick for Nicholas Roy. Uh, I don't know how the Leafs got a first round pick out of Roy, but they did it. I guess he's a right shot center, which Carolina is desperate to get, but he's not a second line center, right? I guess he could be
No.
their third line center, more likely a fourth line center, but a first round pick. But then, of course, we talk about the Edmonton Oilers gave away a first round pick for two fourth, fifth, sixth liners. Like that was crazy. I know they're just trying to get rid of whatever his name's contract, Andrew
Mangiapane.
Majapani. Yeah, just that was a salary dump. And
Yep.
but for the
Definitely.
goaltending, you mentioned Barbosky. Like other than the Vegas, and yes, I guess Carolina has the room to put him in. I don't know what other teams are really looking for goaltending help, because Vegas, Aiden Hill is uh, just falling off the truck there. Like he's bad, terrible. Um, I know we talk about Oilers all year about goaltending, but Vegas' goaltending is a disaster, and they're a team that expect to win the Stanley Cup, right? So yeah, they could be feeling that pressure to find somebody to plug the hole in there before they sink, right? Or a season's lost. But other than that, there's not too many teams, so interesting to see if something happens with Bob.
Okay. All right then. Let's go on to our third topic, and you made the perfect segue to it, Chris.
Oh, The
I have to
Oilers.
bring up the Edmonton Oilers because, dang, they sure give up a hell of a lot of goals. So they made a move the other day and acquired defenseman Connor Murphy from Blackhawks for a 2028 second-round pick. Murphy had 4 goals and 9 assists in 60 games and respectable maybe -3 with the Blackhawks. Not bad. 46 penalty minutes. With Paul Coffey back and this new defenseman in the lineup, will the Oilers give up fewer goals? Now, I know they're making other moves too.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, Murphy's defensive metrics are very good, but he brings zero offense or puck movement. And another trade they made today for 2 guys who are, Dickerson and Doc, who's Doc's physical. Dickerson, again, plays very defensive, but doesn't bring any offense. Um, but the Oilers, their star players are still going to play 25, 30 minutes a game. So it doesn't matter if you bring in good defensive players to play those other minutes. They're still giving up way too many goals. As a team, they're not very good defensively. Their stars aren't great defensively. This isn't going to move the needle for them, right? You're not playing Jason Dickerson 15, 20 minutes a game for his defensive prowess. He's going to play 8 to 10 minutes. So these moves are to me are cosmetic moves. Bowman just trying to pretend that he's trying to do something there because his hands are tied. There's no doubt about it. But is McDavid and Draisaitl, did they get excited when they found out that Dickerson and Doc was coming to town? Like, do you think they got excited about that?
Oh, they probably got very excited.
Zero excitement from those 2 guys, right? If you told them that Colton Parayko was showing up, hey, right, that lifts the spirits of the guys in the locker room, right? But these trades are basically, yeah, guys, this is all we got. Good luck. Hope things turn out. Time's ticking. Connor's contracts ticking away.
Time's ticking. Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't see these moves moving the needle either. I mean, they've improved their team by getting rid of the guys that they did get rid of, like Mangiapane. He was doing absolutely nothing for them. So technically, yes, they improved their team. However, it's not going to be anything that makes a difference. These guys aren't scorers. They might be a little bit better defensively, but at the end of the day, everybody knows the root cause of the Oilers' problems is the goaltending, is what it comes down to. I
It's
mean,
Draisaitl, right? Draisaitl's the problem, right?
yeah, he scores too many points.
That's right. Yeah.
It's a Mitch Marner effect.
Yeah, exactly. I was reading today as well. They've compared numbers like Stuart Skinner's numbers when he was in Edmonton this year. He has more wins than the other Edmonton goalies have currently, and his save percentage is .891, whereas Tristan Jarry is .864. Not quite sure what Connor Ingram's is. I mean, he's only got 7 or 8 games to go off of, but it really shows. And Stuart Skinner has been winning in Pittsburgh, so it really shows that maybe he wasn't the problem. Um, and with that being said, bringing in Jarry has just made the situation worse because now they're not even playing Jarry; they're playing Ingram. So he started, I think, the last 3 or 4 games for them. So, I mean, if this is your way of showing Connor McDavid that you've improved your team by bringing up an AHL goalie to save your season, I don't think it's the message that you want to be sending them. So, anyway, the Oilers, I mean, right now they're in tough to make the playoffs. They're a point ahead of the wild card teams. So, they better, figure it out pretty quick. And if they've got no more moves left to make, and some of these wild card teams do, they could easily be passed in the standings. So we're gonna have to wait and see what happens tonight and tomorrow, and see what some of these other teams do. But right now, it wouldn't be overly shocking to see the Oilers miss the playoffs.
Are they done making moves? I know they say they're done, but do you think they're done?
Well, they got no cap. I mean, they can't bring in anybody with any significant amount on their contract. They have no room for it. So,
Yeah,
this is
they're
part
done.
of the reason why they made some of these smaller moves, I think. So,
Okay. All right. Let's go on to our fourth topic. Now, I want to talk a little bit about McKinnon. He leads the league in goals with 41, or he did when I made up these questions a couple nights ago. And I'm saying that he will get to 50. Barring injury, he should get 50 goals. Of course, he has 22 games left, so I think he's got a good shot at 50. After McKinnon, there are 4 players tied with 35 goals: Caulfield, Kaprizov, Boldy, and McDavid. 6 more players have between 32 and 34 goals. How many players will get to 50 goals out of this bunch, guys? Now, I'm saying Caulfield. I think that he's going to get 50. Yeah, I know it's a stretch. He has 22 games left and he has 35. So, what do you guys think? Mike, what do you think of this? Am I crazy? Well, I know I am, but am I really crazy?
yeah, I think you're really crazy. I don't think Caulfield's getting 50. I think he's got a shot at 45. Um, but it looks like McKinnon's going to be the only 50 goal scorer this year, in my opinion. I can't remember. I know we talked about Caulfield before the season. I know we threw some predictions out on his goal total, and think you had asked if he was going to get 40, and I said that he would get 40. So he, looks like he's going to, and probably a little bit more than that. But
See,
I
I
don't.
thought you had. I remember that. I thought you had said 45, but maybe it was 40. I
Yeah,
don't
no,
remember
I'm pretty sure
exactly,
it was
but
40. But
okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if he got to 45. I mean, he's been on a pretty good streak. So 40 most definitely, unless he was to get hurt. 45 possibly. But McKinnon is probably the only 50 goal scorer, and I think he'll get it. I mean, he's at 41. I mean, he's averaging, a goal every 2 games, or better. So
A
I
little
can't
better.
see him. I can't see him missing it unless Colorado decides to rest a bunch of players before the playoffs, kind of like what Florida did last year. But I'm pretty sure they want to see him get 52 or 50, not 52, but 50 goals. So he'll probably play until he does get 50, and then maybe they'll start resting some guys. We'll see. But I think that's going to be a trend. So any teams that's set into a playoff spot are probably going to rest some of their star players the last couple of games. It obviously worked for Florida last year. So
Chris, what do you think?
So what's going on here? I know the Leafs are out, but now you're clamoring towards Habs fans and trying to give them hope and get the
Well,
viewership
sure.
numbers up or something.
Sure.
Caulfield for
Yeah.
50?
Well, no, I said this a long time ago. I thought he could get 50 this year. I didn't just come up with this last night.
Mm-hmm.
So,
No, I guess McKinnon's got the best shot. 15 goals in 22 games. That's a heater. That's a heater. I guess any of those guys could go on one of those heaters. Maybe McDavid has the best chance of doing that, other than McKinnon. But no, I wouldn't say it would be Caulfield. But just don't bet the house that's going to happen. I don't know what the odds are out those betting sites, guys. But
so you don't think I should bet on it?
I would not put a mortgage on the house for Caulfield getting 50. No.
I'll have to look to see what the odds are and let you guys know next week.
Yes, yes.
All right. Okay. Well, let's get into the hockey profit segment because I say you two are the hockey profits and it's my show and what I say goes. So, are you ready for the hockey profit questions, guys?
Oui.
yep.
All right. Number one, Chris. The story written by Chris Gosselin from MSN says Stamkos is heartbroken as the Preds trade away 2 teammates in one night, Michael McCarron and Cole Smith. Now, should Stamkos have been surprised by this, Chris?
No, no, not based on how that team has played last year and this year. And to my knowledge, they went to him too about his no trade list, and he did give them a couple of teams he's willing to be traded to. So
Oh, really? Do you know who
no,
it is?
there should be no tears from Steven Stamkos. He should be have some bags packed and ready to go if the opportunity arises.
Who do you think the teams are?
Dallas is the one I heard. I don't know the other ones that have reached out to. I think today someone else said 3 East Coast teams have reached out, but there's been no formal trade, players or talk or anything, but I heard that he okayed Dallas and a couple other teams.
All right, okay.
Everyone
Number
else
two,
go to
Mike.
Dallas because they don't pay taxes, right?
That's true.
That's why Tyler Myers wanted to go there. Well, he's also, I think, was born there, but he got his way to Texas.
Number two, Mike. McKinnon scored his 100th point the other night, the fastest to 100 points in the team's history. They have a rich history, and they say, you got to say that that's pretty amazing, fastest 1 to 100 points for Colorado. How many points will McKinnon finish with this year? He still has 22 games left, Mike.
I don't think 130, 135 is out of reach for him. Now, as I said a few minutes ago, it all depends what Colorado wants to do with their lineup the last handful of games of the season. Because if they start
And
sitting guys out,
you think that other teams are going to follow the Florida model from last year?
I think so. I mean, it started kind of a couple years ago. The teams, they'd only let players sit out the last game or two, but Florida was doing it the last month of the season. They were sitting guys out. So, and
Yep.
that's when they came out and said, we don't care what spot we finish in as long as we make the playoffs. And clearly it worked for them. So I think that teams are going to be a little bit more cautious with players, just like now with the trade deadline. If teams have guys that they're looking to trade, they sit them out. They won't play them because they don't want to risk them getting hurt. So, way back when, that never used to happen. Teams would, I remember Mike Camilleri get traded in the middle of the game. So, I think that there's going to be teams that are going to do that. The last handful of games this year, you're going to see some of these stars sit out. Not all of them all at once. Obviously, they've got to put a lineup in, but you're going to see them rest 2, 3 guys, almost like what Vegas did after the Olympics. They sat 5 guys out, and then they still went out and smoked the Kings. So, I think you're going to see it. And like I said, for McKinnon to get, 130, 135, which he could if he played all the games, that's the question mark.
Okay, fair enough. Number 3, Chris. Hot or not? Chris?
Hey, Marty, before you get into that, was that Avalanche, fastest Avalanche player, including the Nordiques franchise, or?
Well, I didn't actually go in and check it, but that's what it said. It said fastest in franchise history.
Peter Stastny put up some big numbers there back in the day.
Yeah,
I'm surprised he didn't catch, and even Joe Sakic, Sundin, but I think Stastny had a 140 point season there. That's interesting. All right.
He did. So I don't know if it includes Quebec or not.
Quebec
sure.
Nordiques, yeah.
Don't know. Number 3, Chris. Hot or not? Now, Chris, the Ottawa Senators, are they hot? And will they make the playoffs?
Ottawa Senators, they still have a hockey team? They're relevant out there?
Oh, they've been winning lately. That's why I'm asking.
Winning lately. Are they going to make the playoffs? That was a question.
Well, there's 2 questions there. Are they hot? Will they make the playoffs?
Sure. Okay, they're hot. I didn't even know they're winning games. But the kind of a side note with that, I know last week I was talking to Zach, and I was like, I don't want to see the Buffalo Sabres in the wild card position. I don't want Carolina to have to play Buffalo. So I'm hoping Buffalo is going to get up in there with Tampa. And Montreal sounds like they're going to be in there. So Ottawa, it's probably going to be a wild card team. It looks good for them right now, but I'd say they're probably going to make the play. Because Washington, I don't know what Washington I think is understanding. Like we told everybody last year, they just had a lucky year and now they're back to normal. I think Ottawa's got a good chance of getting there as long as the goaltending holds up. That's the key for that team.
Yeah, which has been playing better lately. So,
yeah.
All right, and finally, Mike, number 4. Should the Flyers trade Rasmus Ristolainen, and what could they actually get for him?
They should absolutely trade Rasmus Ristolainen.
That question was too easy. That's a cream puff question.
That is.
It's a Flyer question. We have to ask Flyer question. Last question.
That's a 70-mile-an-hour pitch over the middle of the plate right there.
Yep.
Absolutely, they trade him, and I say that, but the Flyers' mindset is always a little bit ass backwards at times. So
Oh,
they
language.
will they might think, oh, we're not getting enough for him. We'll wait till next year. No, get what you can for him. Free up that salary for somebody else. Like spending $5 million on, you know, on a third pairing defenseman that would be on a playoff team. Sure, he might be second pairing in Philadelphia, but he's a third pairing defenseman on a contender. So if you can trade a $5 million contract to somebody, do it. And if they can get anything better than a second round pick, it should be a no brainer to do. So um, even a second round pick, I would take. I just think that they've got to move on from these terrible contracts. And I know there's also talk of the Bruins asking about Owen Tippett. Give him to them. He's not any better. What you see right now with Owen Tippett is in Philadelphia is all you're going to get. That's it. He's not going to get any better than what he is. And I could say that for a majority of the Philadelphia Flyers lineup because of the style of hockey that they play. But get back on track. Yes, they should trade Rasmus Ristolainen. And I think that perhaps Buffalo might be the fallback option, whereas they missed out on Parayko.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. Now, before we end tonight, I do want to ask you guys if there's anything else you want to go over. But I've got this story here that I read, and I want to bring this up. Now, it's a little bit long, so just hang in. Story by Jackson Weber on MSN. Yep. Concern around the newly acquired netminder was already mounting due to his performance in the games leading up to the Olympics and his first start after them. The hope is that he can get back on track sooner rather than later. Though a recent report from Jason Gregoire saying Jarry was getting lit up in practice unlike anything he's ever seen in quite a long time isn't very promising. Now, who is Jason Gregoire? Well, Jason Gregoire is the sports talk radio host of Sports 1440 in Edmonton. This is what Gregoire said, and I wanted to say this to you. Quote, I watched practice yesterday, and I know it's only practice. But I was watching drill after drill, and Jarry was getting lit up. I haven't seen a goalie give up that many goals in a long time. Now, maybe he's working on something else. So it's not all about positioning. Not worried about making the stops. At this point, we'll see. But I think Pete Aubry, the goalie coach, you've got some work to do to get Jarry into a position where a team can actually rely on him, unquote. So that's kind of like going by what you were saying, Mike. Now it says here the 30-year-old Jarry has gone 6-4-1 and 11 starts as an Oiler, sporting a 3.85 goals against average and an 8.64 save percentage. I believe that's what you said, with one shutout. This comes after going 9-3-1 with a 2.66 goal against average and 9.909 save percentage while posting one shutout across 13 starts with the Penguins. So do you guys have any comment on any of that? Something else we haven't already said?
Well, when it comes to practice, generally the shooters, they're not always trying to score goals. They just want to get the goal. They want to give the goalie a feel for the puck. And if they're scoring a lot in practice, especially if they're not really trying to score a lot, it doesn't bode well for the Oilers. And, we've already talked, and I don't think any of us are fans of Tristan Jarry and taking the Oilers to the promised land. So, I don't know. The Edmonton goaltending situation, I don't know what they're thinking, to be honest with you. There's no way I would have brought in Tristan Jarry. I would have just stayed with Skinner, even though I don't think Skinner's the answer either. I think Tristan Jarry is less of an answer. So, and it's clearly showing when they're playing Connor Ingram 4 games in a row that they have lost the confidence in Tristan Jarry. So,
well, the reason why I even brought this up is because here's this beat reporter basically saying he's never seen so many goals go in on a goalie in practice before in a long time. And I'm thinking, man, this does not sound good. And he comes up with this excuse, well, maybe he's not working on stopping the puck. Yeah, trust me, these guys, this guy needs some confidence. He needs to stop the puck. He can't work on anything other than stopping the damn puck. Do you want to say anything about this at all, Chris?
Are we talking about practice?
Yes, we are.
We're talking about practice,
Yes.
not the game.
No,
Not
not a
the
game.
game that
Not a game.
Tristan Jarry loves.
No,
Not the game
not a
that
game.
Connor
But
Ingram is playing
practice.
nets for. But we're
That's
talking
right.
about practice.
That's right.
That's all I got to say.
Man, there was a number of moves made today, which I wasn't expecting, but I guess I should have been. Did you guys want to go over any of those?
There were minor ones, Warren Fogle, God bless his heart, works hard, can't score, it's bad, horrible, terrible hands. I think he went to Ottawa, right, from LA.
Yeah.
Was there anything else that was really memorable?
No, but I thought maybe, well,
Uh,
maybe there's some diamond in the rough out there. There's a lot of moves, so
Fogel's a hard worker. He's a good, yes, he's going to give you honest work. He's very good defensively. It's just you got to put him on the fourth line. If you try to put him on the first and second line, God bless you for all the hands of stone that he brings to the table. So, um, yeah, like Mackenzie Weegar, I guess that Calgary trade. It's good haul for Calgary, good contract, right? Again, right shot defenseman. Everyone's looking for them. Um, and then St. Louis tried to get rid of Parayko, couldn't do it. Rasmussen, yeah, I see Ristolainen. They're saying that multiple teams are now reaching out on that one. So we
right,
should we
yeah.
should have some trades tonight and tomorrow.
All right.
The
Eh,
teams have cap space, so there should be some moves happening for sure. Is there going to be a blockbuster? Don't often see blockbusters happen on trade deadline day, right? If something big's going to happen, it's usually before that. So I'm concerned about any big names moving tomorrow.
Well, the sportscasters will have their 20-man, 20-person teams out there for 28
8 a.m.
hours.
8
Yeah,
a.m. Eastern time. They're going to be out there doing their thing.
crazy. Mike, did you want to say anything about Mark Stone before we go?
Uh,
Mark Stone hurt again. What a shock. Um, and I mean, the hit was anything that you or I could have taken and still be playing. Like, I don't understand. Um, Chris Letang gave him a shove, like with his stick, but not like a hard cross check or anything. Just a push with his stick and left the game. And they said he was day to day. They never, whenever Mark Stone's hurt, they never say what it is because it could be a variety of things, like maybe multiple things with Mark Stone. So, but yeah, he's out again. They put him on injured reserve today. And they don't have the playoff cap loophole there to lean on anymore. So he's probably legitimately hurt. How long? Who knows? But we've seen this coming, and this just to add a little story to this is in one of our hockey pools that we're in, one of the guys had Mark Stone, and he was looking to trade him, and he wanted like high draft picks for him, and like there was three of us that were like, we're not giving you a high draft pick for a guy that's going to get hurt again. He's like, no, he already missed his good chunk of the season. This only happens to him once a year, so. Anyway, so none of us traded for him. One of the other guys decided to, and now he's, and don't get me wrong, when he made the trade for him, he went on a good rip and got a lot of points for him. But now he's hurt again, and who knows for how long. So, it just goes to show that these injury-prone players, you can almost see it coming like a mile away. So, yeah, that's my thoughts with Mark Stone. So, not surprised. Just to touch up on a couple of the other small deals there today is Minnesota got Jeff Petrie from the Panthers just for,
ooh,
just
Habs legend.
for depth, and Dallas got Michael Bunting from the Predators. Michael Bunting, this guy, I
Good
can't.
hands in front of the net. That's all, and he'll hit people, but yeah, he's
Cannot stand Michael Bunting. If there's a face
yeah.
that someone wants to punch, he's the face. Like, I mean, and there's a few. Don't get me wrong. There's the T'Chucks, and then there's him, and geez, there's another player. Forget who it is. Anyways, I was talking about some.
Zegras.
What's that?
Zegras.
Zegras, yeah, maybe
Yeah.
Zegras,
Yeah.
but there's a
Connect
few out
me.
there. So maybe that's what the Stars got him for, to draw some penalties, because he's a shit disturber. So
He does
we
draw a lot of penalties. Yeah.
yeah, and I can't blame the players that want to give it to him. I mean, anyways, he is how he is. But the Panthers are playing Bobrovsky as the backup goalie tonight, so he's not going to play. So we'll see what happens there.
Okay. Chris, did you want to mention anything about the loophole that was taken away about the for the playoffs?
Yeah,
For
yeah,
the cap?
illegitimate victories of Florida Panthers and Tampa Bay Lightning the last few years by
No,
having
legitimate.
$100 million cap teams.
Don't forget Vegas.
Those days are done. Those days are done. The loophole that's killed Carolina the last few years. Yeah, because I know they were talking about that today because of Stone, right? And they're saying, oh, if they put Stone on IR, they can go get themselves fill that gap. Yes, you can for the regular season, but for a playoff game, the regular season cap is in play again. So that your lineup for each playoff game has to be under that cap. So they talked about, they can go get Barbosky, right? If they put Stone on the IR for the rest of the season, but then come playoffs, they would have to, like Aiden Hill could not be in the roster, right? For that game, they would have to sit him out, and then you get his cap savings, right? To try to get underneath the 92 or 91, whatever it is. But yeah, that was a quote. I know when Carolina lost to Tampa, was it 3 years ago when they won the cup? Doogie Hamilton came out afterwards and says we lost to at that point, I think the cap was 80, maybe around 80, 81. And Doogie Hamilton came out and said, yeah, we lost a team with a $93 million cap team, right? Because that year was the year that who was the player who was out most of the year? Kucherov.
Yeah,
Kucherov was hurt,
Kucherov. Yeah.
and they returned for the first game. So they were able to add all kinds of players, and they were like $14-15 million over the cap, the regular season cap, right? And that's the team that won the Stanley Cup. So you like playing a team with two superstars, two extra superstars in their team, right? So at least that loophole is going to be closed going forward. So that was a good change the NHL is implementing for this playoff year.
All right. Okay. Well, I'm sure we'll have more to talk about next week, and we'll see what happens the rest of this week for trades and moves, free agency.
Before we
so
go,
like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you next week.
Whoa,
What, Mike?
Before we go,
breaking news! Breaking news!
I don't know if you guys had noticed the comments from Jake DeBrusk. Did you guys read those?
No.
Today?
No, yesterday or the day before. Oh. He said that it wasn't. He didn't want to be part of a rebuilding team. That's not what he signed up for, he says. Is this the same Jake DeBrusk that has underproduced for several years?
Yeah.
Coming out and saying that he's one of the reasons that they're rebuilding.
Yeah.
He has been absolutely terrible for this team. So to come out and, basically call out the Canucks because they are rebuilding, some of this is on him because he's been terrible. They brought him in there expecting, between 30 and 40 goals, and he's lucky to get 15. So, for him to come out and say that, I just didn't know if you guys had read the article or not, but
nope.
I don't get it. Guys like this, if you were overproducing and then, you say something like this, okay, I can kind of understand it. But if you're part of the problem, you should just keep your mouth shut, in my opinion.
Obviously, he doesn't think he's part of the problem.
Well, He definitely is.
Yeah, he's your classic underachiever who can look good for some moments, and you think, oh, he's got a lot, and then disappear for 20 games, and you're wondering why are we paying this guy? I was surprised when Vancouver gave him the contract and the money because
Yeah.
I think he proved in Boston he is what he is. But some GMs, they got money, they got to spend it, they got to look like they're doing something for the franchise, and voila, Jake DeBrusk appears.
Poor Jake DeBrusk, and I'm sure I'll put his picture up on the screen after you guys talk about him. So,
Oh yeah, he has his 50, 60, 70 million dollars. He's lying in bed with every night, so he's fine. He'll survive.
all right. Well, like, share, and subscribe. We will talk to you next week. Later.
Later.
Later.